Now, your host, folks, of Morning Glory, you'll catch him 9 to 12 with his merry band of followers on his Friday. You can catch him here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Matty Johns, good afternoon to you.
Good morning, Joel, Brooksy, Fletch, and Chris.
Now, Matthew, I've got to talk about the elephant in the room. Now, we got a text. It was a group text through all the staff in Sydney here, and it says, "Hey, Sydney folk."
Was it a group email?
No, it was a text.
Oh, text was
text,
it?
Yeah. Sydney folk, sorry for the full staff email, but I had my dinner in the fridge at work as I'm going straight from work to a gig. It was fully sealed and seems to have been opened today, Friday. Some of it eaten and put back in. Don't really appreciate it as I'm planning my dinner, but next time, don't eat half of it. Just put it all in your gob. Now, it was on a Friday. Matthew, do you know anything about this?
Look, Fletch, I don't. I generally, as a rule, I won't drink. I won't eat anyone else's food unless it's a mandarin, which are delicious. I will drink people's drinks if there's a coffee, something in there. I will actually take that because I think drinks are fair game.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I wouldn't pinch someone's lunch.
Okay, so we feel we've tracked it down. It's someone on Friday mornings. Or don't
Webby.
know. Yeah, I'm thinking
Webby for sure.
What about Hogarth? Benny Hogarth's piling on the pounds, I've noticed, turning into a big fat heap of mess. So I'm thinking that maybe it was a salad, so maybe he's a salad dodger.
Yeah.
So he's not eating it. Beak, is he a bit peckish?
Not with that hair. Not with that hair. I'm really worried about that hair. He's looking rather suspicious, let's just say.
Just on that hair that he's talking about, right?
So, rhymes with Reddo.
Mate,
Freddo, yeah. He does look a bit chocolatey, doesn't he?
So that he lost that to a bet like about 6 months ago.
But now he's just...
So why is it still there? I need to go to the hairdresser every 2 weeks, Brian. So why does he still have it there?
I think he's enjoying
You know
it.
what, boys? I had a mate once who turned up at school and he had tints in his hair and everything like that. And we're like, mate, Willow, what the hell's going on? He said, "Oh, boys, I lost a bet." I said, "If you have something that happened," when really, deep down, he just wanted that done.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So I'm suspecting with Beak that he's laid the bet, probably thinking he's going to lose. He's fulfilled the bet. That is the look he's looking for, the Bros look.
Weren't they a band?
Couldn't they play?
They were very good. We've got a text
Their
here.
greatest hits album is insane.
Matthew, we've got Chris here from Heminant. Hey, Matty, do you support any English football team in soccer?
Liverpool.
Are you a Liverpoolian?
Yeah, Liverpool. Yeah, I'm a Liverpoolian. In fact, boys, I'm actually... in this month, if you're a Liverpool fan, get up to Newcastle on August 24. Craig Johnston, the musical of sorts, the great Liverpool player from my hometown, Newcastle, he's putting the show on, and I'm the narrator of the show.
Oh, so
yes.
Is it live or is it pre-recorded?
No, live.
Oh,
live.
Matthew.
It's looking to do a tour.
Yeah.
So it's So it goes through here, Jono's whole life, starting in Newcastle, then going over to Middlesbrough, the transfer to Liverpool, the reason he left Liverpool, winning Champions Leagues, and then goes into the Predator boot.
And what about the Hotel Butler? Did we talk about that?
Oh, yeah, the Butler.
Yeah.
Yes, of course it'll touch on that. I'll get you, Butler. And, of course, the Main Event. Remember that TV show, The Main Event?
I do.
Yeah, that was his. He invented that one too.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And there's a move. If you get young Chris, he could probably load it up. There is a famous New Order song called it was "The World in Motion," right? Now, in the middle of the song "The World in Motion," John Barnes of Liverpool fame, he does a rap, and they couldn't get the rap right. And Peter Beardsley, who was an iconic player in English soccer, he rang Jono and said, "Mate, we're all sitting around. How long do you reckon it'd take us to put a rap together?" He sent it back in 15 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah, and it sits in the middle of that song. Yes.
So with this musical, Matty, where's it going to be at? Is it like
it's going to be it's
theatre?
going to be at Newcastle Newcastle Entertainment Centre, the first one.
Okay.
And then from there we'll see what this is almost like the test pilot.
Right.
To see how it goes. The old so Jono come and saw me and said, "What do you think?" And we wrangled a crew together, including the bloke who's the executive producer of it, is a fellow called Glenn Pallister, who was the guy from the old footy show.
Yeah. So who's playing Craig?
I'm not sure on that,
but
there's a live band which will play Beatles music,
awesome.
play Jerry and the Pacemakers, all that sort of music, and 80s. Of course, Jono, when he used to ride the bus with Liverpool, when they do away games, he was the DJ for the bus. So he used to play songs from In Excess and Cold Chisel and whatnot. And he said the English players hated it at first. Then they grew to really love it. And he said when we played in 1981, they played Rome in the Rome Stadium in the Champions League final, and they walked onto the field singing Forever Now.
Oh,
together.
wow.
Yeah.
I tell you what, boys, and you just reminded me both of something. I'm sure you've both been there. For those who are travelling over abroad for the Ashes trip for the Rugby League, you've got to get up to Liverpool for a night.
Oh,
it is one of the great nights out there with all the Beatles nostalgia. Boys, I assume you've both had a night. It's what a great night that is.
Oh, yeah. The what's the Beatles? What is it, the cabin?
Yeah, the Cavern.
Cavern Club.
Cavern Club.
Yeah.
Cavern Club.
And Matthew Street is just... Well, I went there last year with Trish. We were driving up to see our dear mate Brian Carney, and I said, let's just stop off at Liverpool. She was like, oh, what's at Liverpool? And I said, just trust me. We just threw our bags in, went around the corner, and just absolutely just hammered ourselves heavily. It was a Sunday. And then we wake up Monday morning, and I said, she goes, oh, what are we going to do? We've got another night in Liverpool. I said, mate, let's just go straight back down to Matthew Street. She said, Matt, it's 10:30 on a Monday morning. And I said, trust me. Went back down there. It was pumping.
I know. It's you have to. Like, if you're going all the way on the other side of the world to England, London, you've got to just make that few hours trip up to Liverpool. Brian, round 23. We're just about there, aren't we? Round 23. You can
5 to go.
Yeah.
5 to go, but 5 good games to go.
Yeah.
Like 5, sorry, not games, rounds.
Yeah. I reckon after this week, we're there. Don't you reckon? Winner's just about behind us.
Well, I feel, Matt, are you there? You still there? Oh, there he is. I didn't hear your heavy breathing. I was a bit worried.
I know. I've got this new eucalyptus spray. It's really sort of cleaned everything out.
Yeah,
well,
good.
I think about the sinus thing in the off-season that Joel said about.
The Fest spray.
Yeah.
Oh, the Fest.
Yeah, the Fest.
Matty, are you hearing anything about signings for the Perth Bears?
Fletch, look, the word I'm getting pretty good authority. They're going to, mate. They're on the cusp of offering massive money, like to teams. I know they must be given the fact that you don't rely on them, mail on where the salary cap's going. Because I'm hearing figures like 1.5, and they're not for Cameron Munster. Like Munster, I think with Munster they're going to go about 1.8 or maybe slightly above. But there's other players, the money they're talking about, if that's an indication of where the salary cap is going to go, then it's going to have a substantial rise. But, yeah, I saw it yesterday, their first board meeting over there.
Yeah.
There was Mal and a few others. I saw James Bracey. Is he doing is he the media guy over there?
No, he's on the board. So there's 2 boards. There's the Western Australian board, and then there's a Sydney board.
What do you mean Western Australian board?
Well, they're all Western Australians. I spoke to the great Jamie Rogers. She's on the board with Brace and someone else. So there's a board. They have board meetings here in Sydney.
What?
Yeah, and they have another board over there. Yeah. So James Bracey, he's on the board. Saw him at Logies too, looking sharp.
Fantastic. Jeez, I tell you what. Why didn't Larry M to get a start? Unbelievable. Oh well, good luck, Bears.
Yeah, good luck, Bears. Did you watch any of the? Did you watch any of the Logies, Matthew?
Sickening.
Yeah. I feel it's since we've been
the gun is like Sam Pang is the gun. I loved it when Jimmy started and he came on and said, working class man. What did he say? He said, the perfect song for this room.
Yeah. Well, it's changed a lot because the paper went in there. You know how the papers, I know if it was the telly, it might have been someone else. They went in there and they usually do a bit of a scope around. They see how much drugs were taken in the toilets.
Yeah.
This year, found nothing.
Really?
Yep. They're saying it was very unusual.
They must be finding new ways to take it, Fletch, I dare say.
No, I think the world's changed.
Really?
Yep, I think they're going up in their hotel rooms now rather than public toilets.
Oh, yeah. That's mate, it was... I tell you, watching some of the speeches up there, it was...
It's tough to watch.
It was really tough to watch. It's hard to believe some people can be so insular.
Now, Matthew, big news. It looks like Lachie Galvin, well, he's been named, but they're saying that he's got to go get x-rays. Or if he is out, Sugar and I were discussing, is it sex on legs slot straight in, or do you feel the young kid Woods?
Nah, it's got to be Sexton. Sexton has... Like what he did to get them where they are, he definitely deserves it. And do you know what? Even if he proves them wrong, even if he comes back and is outstanding in the back end of the year, then fantastic. It's great. Like I think the Galvin situation over the course of the weekend, I wouldn't like. There's them losing. There's been a little bit of like, oh, we told you so, Galvin. It has nothing to do with Galvin.
No,
the Dogs have got to work out a formula for rainy games, wet games. At the moment, they've got their football is a very complex, short passing game, a high-skilled game, and unfortunately, in the wet, that's problematic. Passing in the line, and they got found out a little bit the other day. The blokes who were the two biggest threats were Matt Burton and Kurt Mann because they ran the ball.
Yeah,
and that's where they need to sort of adjust their football in those conditions.
You know what, boys? I was just thinking about that those big, heavy tracks. The bigger, slower teams come back into the pack. So the real fast, agile, nimble teams, Bulldogs, Raiders, Manly, they're no good on the wet track, are they?
Well, it's been proven now. It's what is it, 0-3?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the great equaliser, isn't it? The wet, because you got to change your formula, and you know the Raiders on the weekend. I think everyone sort of saw that coming to a certain degree. That upset, I wouldn't class as a monumental upset. I actually think this will be like a great thing for the Raiders.
Yeah.
Like I go back to Melbourne Storm. So Raiders have had two really good winning streaks. They won 5 in a row, then lost to the Bulldogs, and they've won 9 in a row, and then lost to the Dragons. And win 7, 8, and 9, you could just see some bad habits starting to creep in. They're too generous for the attacking team, like in the fact that their defence, they're willing to let the other side play a little bit, and they back their attack. And that loss just corrects everything. It sends everyone back to the drawing board and says, okay, where's our football gone? How do we tidy things up? The best example I could give you, Melbourne Storm in 2021, they were looking to go back-to-back. They won 19 in a row. They were looking unbeatable. However, win 16, 17 and 18, 19, you could see bit by bit they were just losing their way. Frivolous with the football, not as much energy in their defence. And what happened when the defeat finally came, they were only 2 weeks out from the finals, and they just couldn't correct it in time and got knocked out the second week of the finals. The good thing, mate, with the Raiders losing this game, I think they'll go back to the drawing board, just have a look at where their football has evolved and make the right adjustments.
Yeah, totally agree. Matty, we'll chat
All
Thursday.
Matty.
Have a great evening
boys.
tonight, and happy birthday to Trish as well. Good on you, mate. We'll chat soon.
Trish, the boys are wishing you a happy 64th.
When I'm 64.
Tootsie, welcome.
How you going, boys?
Hi, going good. Now, Tootsie, I don't know if you listened before, but we had a bit of an incident in the SEN studios. This is from a text message from one of the staff. It said, sorry for the full staff email, but I had my dinner in the fridge at work as I'm going straight from work to a gig. It was fully sealed and seems to have been opened. Some of it eaten and put back. Don't really appreciate pre-planning my dinner, paying for it, and now having to pay for another dinner as I'm not comfortable eating this now. Next time, just have the whole meal. My shout. Don't eat half of it and put it back. Again, sorry for the passive-aggressive text message. If this happened in the Raiders breakout room in the kitchen, which player do you think, or which two players?
Okay. Before he answers the question, you and I both write down who we think.
Oh, for the Canberra Raiders.
Yes. So who are the two players that we think he will say?
Okay.
I've got.
Okay, I've got this.
What's the question first?
The question is,
So I can think about it.
The question is, which players of the Raiders would be most likely to face the lineup after stealing someone else's food in the fridge?
Okay.
Who are the two most likely?
You're most likely.
If something went...
Stevie Pinch food.
Yeah, so say KO Weeks had pre-prepared his meal for the day and wrote KO Weeks on it, and then he comes back later on that day and there's half of it missing. Which two players would the team put forward as the major suspects in said crime?
That's a tough one. honestly, this has got Jordan Rapana written all over it. Like, it's a Rapana special. Like, he wears, we've got player numbers on our stuff, and he wears it. He wears like number 284 to train and that. Like, that's not even your number, mate. You can't even get away with that, but he just does it. He's just a rapper special, eating food especially. Like, oh yeah, sweet bro, I'll have that. Can I have that?
That's awesome.
Sam Williams is another one. Sammy Williams is another one back here. Doesn't order a feed. That sits there and pitches your chips like a seagull.
Oh, it's not really being a tight ass. It's just blokes who are just
opportunistic.
Yeah, you see it in the fridge and you go, you know what? I'm just going to take this.
Yeah, it's a Rapana thing all over. At the moment, it's hard to. Starla would be the one who'd do it just to take the piss out of it, just to annoy someone. He wouldn't actually eat it. He'd do that just to...
We're both on Starling bingo.
We're both. Okay. What's
the next one?
I've got one more left.
Mine's a redhead.
Yeah, Big Red. Nah, he's the sort of bloke that'd know what to do. You wouldn't do that to him because he'd be throwing his fist. It was his food. He'd be on. But Starla would do that to stir him up. Or Hudson Young's another one.
There you go, Brian. Brian's got it.
I got it.
Brian's
I said Hudson and Starlo.
Okay, you win.
But when it comes down to actually eating it, it'd be Jordan Rapana. That's him to a T. He'd give you the shirt on his back, but it's probably not his shirt. That's the way I best describe Rapper.
I've always said, Tootsie, a food thief knows a food thief when they see him, and Brian has nominated Hudson Young and Tommy Starling.
Well, food thief. I'll steal your food.
There was points thieves, and it was the Dragons pinching 2 points off your beloved Raiders. You know what? I'm sure he's upset about it, Ricky, but is it the loss you kind of want to have, Toots, or not?
Yeah, you're not going to come out and say it publicly, and no one wants to lose. You want to win every game, but realistically, you look at it, you're not going to win 20 games in a row to finish the season, or whatever it is. So, I mean, we were disappointed in how we played, especially in the second half. I thought we fought really hard against that Breeze in the first half to be at 10-all. Like, we were in a dominant position, and then just execution and just a lot of simple errors in poor conditions in the second half. But in saying that, the Bulldogs getting beaten by the Tigers probably smooths everyone over a bit on the Sunday as well, makes it a little bit easier to swallow. We just got to get back on the horse, mate, and Manly at home this week into a bye, which is coming at a really good time again as well. So string those two together, mate, and the win and into a bye, and we're back on track.
Like your tips at times, you're a gun tipster, Tootsie, but last week, rugby league-wise, was a forgive run. Melbourne were wobbly, Penrith were wobbly, Bulldogs, Raiders, all wobbly. Sharks made a statement, which is fine. Sharks should do well in the wet. That's what they do, Brian. But I've got to say this, Toots. I was so proud, Brian. There's 18 points to 10. The Raiders had only scored 2 tries in 76 minutes. So what did they do, Brian, when there was a penalty? What did they do?
Take the 2.
Take the 2. Why don't we see more of that? That was so logical. Anyway, let's go on to Logic, which is following your tips, Toots.
Oh, hang on. No, I've got a question for him.
Okay.
Now, Tootsie, you being the goal kicker that you were, with the Penrith drama, the Penrith trainer, how would have you reacted?
I would have. I would have, had the shits like everyone did. Like, it's not ideal, but I also compare it to. I think everyone's just got their knickers in a knot because it was Penrith again. I look at Jamal a couple of weeks ago putting the ball in the team, and the wind blows it off. What's the difference there with resetting and going again, as opposed to, it's annoying and it probably throws you out and you start thinking about it a little bit. The fact that you restart your kick and go through your process again probably doesn't change the fact that he missed a goal, in my opinion. It is annoying, and then again, everyone doesn't like it because it's Penrith and because it's happened with Shane Elford before as well, those sorts of things. And it looks like it could have, if he kicked the goal, if he kicks the goal, then, they don't get the opportunity to 2-point field goal, but he also had the chance to kick the goal. It's not like he was in the middle of his run-up when it happened. So the only thing I could think of, and I was I had lunch with Jamal today, and he came up with, if that happened again, instead of just a fine, like Penrith don't care about paying a fine, no club would, and he gets 5 weeks, but, it doesn't get anything back for the Titans. Why don't we move it to like a penalty try scenario where if it's, I don't like getting complicated. I don't like going like sugar and getting complicated and everything. But take the kick in front of the post. If it happens and the ref thinks someone's done that on purpose, then take the kick over to the front of the post and
that'll stop
it from there. But that'll stop it from doing it because I guarantee you, if he sticks up in the office and that happens and we win a game for it, he's probably high-fiving the trainer. But if we go out there and it costs us a game because the kick's in front, that trainer's not going to be coming in Monday morning. So that's probably one way I thought about it. But.
Toots, I agree with all that sentiment. Like, as a goal kicker, you need to readdress. And as you said, it's a great example you give about the ball coming off the tee. You've got to readdress. And and just go through your motions. Like, you can't let that affect you. One thing I'll say, which you raised a very good thing, Brian.
Yep.
So he talks about the 5 weeks for the trainer, Corey Bocking, which, by the way, I'm 1,000,000% convinced that it was accidental. Tootsie, do you have a view on this?
Yeah, it may have been. We're never going to know. I think he did. He probably just pinned the ears back and then went, "Oh shit!" I'm halfway through a thing.
Yeah.
And, it looked like it was accidental to me. Whether he knew or not, I don't know. I heard the radio this morning. Like, it's people just think it's pretty frantic down there on the sideline between trainers and blokes, medical staff, and blokes coming on and off, and messages coming from the coaches box to the sideline to the trainers. Like, they're not just dawdling out there and dawdling back. It's a pretty intense job what they do. So I can understand that he would have been under the pump and the heat of the moment in the situation of the game. They're up 24-0 and all of a sudden it's 26-24. So there was obviously a fair bit going on in the game on the field as well. So yeah, look, I don't think he meant it. I'd like to think he didn't, but it was pretty. I know it's funny to look at now, I guess, but. He certainly copped a whack for it, didn't he?
Okay, so just on that, right, and I don't think anyone's raised this, and nor have I thought about it to this very point. So with the suspensions, Brian, and Toots, we don't take into account the injury. It's all about the intent of the action, right? So he did miss the kick. If he kicked the goal, is Corey Bocking and the club still copping? Is he missing 5 weeks, and is the club copping 50,000 if he kicks the goal? Because
I don't think
so.
Yeah, I don't feel it's a non-event.
So what's the difference?
He missed it.
No, but the difference, but it's the outcome, right? So if I head you and you,
even if if Cleary doesn't kick that 2-point field goal, then again we're probably not talking about it. Even if he did miss the kick, you know what I mean?
We'll never know.
That's just human nature.
We'll never know.
The way we live, yeah.
It's human nature, Brian.
Good. That's the bottom line, isn't it?
Winning money.
News Limited, popular podcast, spent so much time at number one, probably still is at number one. And I said to you, Brian, that I'm a podcast merchant. I love my podcast. I'm very audio driven, but not often do you come across a podcast where you're sort of chasing it. You're waiting for it to refresh, and sure enough, when it drops, you get a little perk in your step. And Ashlea Johnson has been right behind this. In fact, Ashlea Johnson is this. News Limited, it is called Dear Rachelle, 15 episodes, and what a thrilling case it has been with a thrilling update. Ashlea Johnson, who's a doyen of all of this, who's been so good in all of this, has just been to Thailand for a certain reason, Brian. So without further ado, it's a Tuesday. Let's do this. Haven't heard any of it, folks. Get yourself into it. I had mates going on flights overseas. I said, look, just download the Dear Rachelle podcast and you'll be up to date for sure. Partners with Damien Loon too, who is a wonderful detective. And I'm pleased to say Ashlea Johnson joins us again to update us on this podcast, this highly rated podcast. Ashlea, hello to you.
Hello. Wow, what an intro. Thanks for that, guys.
So you're back in Australia. I can tell by those trees in your background there. And for those who haven't seen Ashlea, you can catch up on YouTube, who's joining us through that right now. You had spent some time in Thailand, but your reason for going, Ashlea, was quite significant.
Well, unfortunately, the main suspect in Rachelle Charles's murder died suddenly in Thailand. So I travelled there with a photographer. We went to go and investigate the circumstances surrounding his death. It was unexpected and it shocked everyone. And being in another country, we just wanted to get to the bottom of it. And certainly, if you've been listening to Dear Rachelle, there were many serious allegations levelled against Kevin Carell in his past in the 80s. And one of those women, for example, who accused him of rape and he was acquitted over that rape, she said to me, "I don't believe it. I just don't believe that he's dead." She said he's the sort of person who could fake his own death.
Oh, wow.
So those kind of comments and, fueled us to really just want to go and get to the bottom of it, because initially we just didn't know. And being in another country, being in Australia when this all unfolded. And we also wanted to get to the bottom of his, his secret life over there. He did have a strong connection to Thailand. He'd had previous girlfriends, young women, And we're talking about a man in his late 60s who was going back and forth to Thailand to seek out really the sex tourism that was over there. And we just wanted to sort of delve into that. And we got to the bottom of his death. It was deemed non-suspicious. We spoke to the lead investigator and the head of the police force there in Thailand, in Phuket, where he died. And he showed us the post-mortem and the initial autopsy report, which basically said that he died of heart-related issues and he went into cardiac arrest. So on Friday, the 18th of July, 2025, his body was discovered. He'd been dead for 24 hours and he died alone on the bathroom floor. Now, we're more interested in what this means for Rachelle's case, given he was the prime suspect, and we took a very heavy focus on him because that's where the evidence has always pointed, and certainly the evidence only got stronger and stronger in our investigation that highlighted him as the person suspected of murdering 23-year-old Rachelle Childs. So devastating news for Rachelle's family. You know, think about how long they've waited for justice. And if Kevin was the person responsible for her murder, then where does it leave them? You know, they've been fighting this battle for justice for 24 years now, and it's just another kick in the guts. So, yeah, mixed feelings about his death, and that's where we're up to.
Ashley, I asked you this last time we spoke to you. Had you had any contact with the police during the first sort of half of the podcast dropping, and has that changed since his death? Have they come to you and said, "Oh, well, we were actually going to investigate it further," or we were actually going to charge him?
Look, we had minimal contact with the police. We were very open with the police, but you have to respect the way that they operate, and they're not very forthcoming with what they're doing. And I really hope that there was a lot happening behind the scenes, but they certainly weren't bringing us up to speed on that. We do know that they reopened her investigation, coincidentally in January, and they only announced this on the day that we launched the podcast, Dear Rachelle. So that was news to the family. It was well received news because the family has been pushing for this reinvestigation and more attention on the case for many years. But like so many other families in this position where their loved ones who have been murdered, their cases have gone cold, and there are so many cold cases in New South Wales and around Australia for that matter. So they fall into this really unenviable, you know, it's a position you would never want to be in, which is that they don't have the answers for why their loved one was murdered. They don't know what happened to them, and now it's very likely they may not get the justice that they have been searching for and fighting for so long because, yeah, Rachelle was, you know, she was loved by many, many people, and I think that's really come through in the podcast as well, is all the people that have come out and just been motivated to tell their stories because of who she was as a person. And they were also motivated by her family members, her mum Anne, her beautiful mum Anne, just, you know, the salt of the earth people, and, you know, just so determined to get a result and to get the justice that they deserve and Rachelle deserved. But where that lies now is really, we just don't know. The police are saying that they're still going to investigate, which is very positive. Does this mean that his death means that someone who potentially could hold the key to this and they were living in fear, that fear may now have evaporated? So, yeah, we're very much in unknown territory at the moment in terms of the investigation, but the police are saying that they're still investigating and it's still an open case. So, and whether he worked alone or not, that's another thing that we don't know. If it was Kevin responsible, we certainly know that he was suspected of being involved. Whether anyone else was involved, we're looking at that, and so very much too. So is the New South Wales Police Force.
Actually, with DNA and how, you know, within 6 months or a year, it can really become I suppose it just seems to increase. Obviously, he gave DNA way back then. What happens now? Does that come off the database? I'm just thinking if it's off the database, can
That's a great question. Look, I would think not. I would think not. He voluntarily provided his DNA, but it was only, my understanding is that it only gets held in relation to Rochelle's case.
Yeah.
So I think that because he voluntarily provided that under whatever the arrangement was, I think they can only hold it for her case. So whether there's a breakthrough in the DNA and in the exhibits that they hold. But unfortunately, there was a DNA mishap back in the beginning in the early 2000s when they thought they had an unknown DNA profile, and it turned out to be crime scene investigators. So, that's devastating for the case, and you can't go back and fix that error. Obviously wasn't done intentionally, and, no one's blaming anyone individually, but I guess it does cast doubt on some of the integrity of the exhibits. And we don't know what exhibits police still have. They haven't been forthcoming about that. I'm hoping that they've held them all in very good storage facilities, but we do know that they have lost exhibits over the years, and that's not uncommon in cold cases, particularly like Rochelle's. And because they've only improved the processes over the years, it was only 15 years ago, some police officers were storing exhibits under their desks and in lockers, and that was certainly the case with Rochelle's unsolved case. So in terms of DNA, I don't have all the answers. I would like to think that they are doing a full forensic review. So that means that they go back over all of the exhibits, they put them back through the testing, because as you said, there's so many advancements in DNA technology, and it's changing all the time. So that does give me some hope, and certainly the family, that we could get this breakthrough because of that and advancements in DNA technology. But they did test the petrol cap on Rochelle's car in the beginning of our investigation, because her car was a key exhibit and component of the investigation, because it was staged. And the theory is that the killer used her car in some way during the evening, and certainly the last person to drive her car, which was a distinctive blue Holden Commodore, and the last person to drive it wasn't Rochelle. So the theory is that the person who parked it and placed it at the Bargo Hotel, which is like a staged crime scene, was the killer. And they've never been able to secure DNA from that car or fingerprints, but police did go back and test the petrol cap of the car. So, but again, that yielded no results. There were no fingerprints on that, which is disappointing. But at least that they're doing things to try and move the case forward, because that's what they need. They need some sort of forensic breakthrough. They need a new witness to come forward, or maybe there's something that's been missed in the brief of evidence. You just don't know until fresh eyes are on it, and we're still trying to get to the bottom and get the truth about what happened to Rochelle in those missing 9 hours that we're still trying to piece together after all of these years.
Chatting with Ashlea Hanson of the Dear Rachelle podcast. It is a high-rating podcast, that is for sure. Now, episode 13, you get a quote from his daughter, Jazz. And this is the quote in episode 13 of Dear Rachelle. I knew at that moment that he had done it, because he told me the story many times. He'd said that Rochelle's fingers were cut off because she was dealing drugs for the bikies. That's when I realised he's done this. That was the moment, because for those who have heard the podcast, nobody else had been aware of that information at that time. So it appears as though he was the only one who'd been aware. Jazz, the daughter, has she came out publicly since the passing, Ashlea, about her father?
She has. I've spoken to her many times. A very, very difficult, tumultuous relationship she had with her father, but still at the end of the day, he is her father. So she's going through a lot of emotions, but the first one was, and she's an incredible human. I'll just tell you this, that she always promised that if her father had passed, the first person that she would contact would be Christy, Rachelle's sister. Now, she's never spoken to Christy in her life. They've exchanged a couple of messages just through our podcast, and since she came forward through, I think, over social media or something like that, but they've never actually spoken. So the first time the daughter of
Wow.
Kevin Carell speaking to Christy was on the day that she found out her dad had died, and she
Wow.
thought, no, I'm going to give them that peace. I'm going to give them that news. And it was devastating news as well, because she's behind this campaign.
Yeah.
She wants justice for Rachelle. So,
Wow.
and that's what inspired her to speak out about her experience. And that is evidence, and we had to be very cautious about what we broadcast at the time in terms of her interview. And it was very closely monitored by lawyers, as you could imagine, because you've got someone accusing their father of murder. And we had to weigh up as well, is it in the public's interest? Is she just, wanted payback for her father and wanted to say malicious and nasty things about him? But when you break it all down, and I strongly believe her motivation was she had nothing to gain out of that interview except for helping the family, and she was motivated by their quest for justice, and she thought, you know what, I'm going to tell people my feelings and my experiences with my father, because it paints a picture, and it painted a very dark, evil picture of a man who could instill so much fear in people and have so much control over people, but yet was so charismatic and could lure people and had this sense of control over people. It was a fascinating insight into her father, and she said that she believed that was the moment, like you say in that quote, that she believed, I know he's really done this, because he'd been spreading stories and been telling people that the bikies had killed Rachelle and they cut off her fingers. Now, only the killer and police knew that Rachelle's fingers had been detached, but unfortunately, it wasn't picked up in the autopsy initially because she was so badly burned. And then years later, when they exhumed her body, it was inconclusive. Again, they couldn't conclude whether her fingers had been intentionally severed or it was a result of the fire. So just so many unanswered questions. But for her, that was the moment that she thought, my dad's done this, because he's sitting there on my couch telling me that he's never spread that story, and I've heard that story from his mouth. To look into him again, and had some strategies around trying to get to the truth around that. So he was denying it to her that he'd said it, and she said that was the moment I knew. And she was already very suspicious that he may have been involved because of his suspicious behaviour after the murder. And she was only 17, and she had beautiful memories of Rachelle and going to her dad's work and seeing this gorgeous bubbly sales person in the yard, and Rachelle being Rachelle, she was just chatty and would have been very warm and kind, I'm sure, to someone like Jazz. So when Jazz found out that she'd been murdered, it absolutely turned her world upside down. And because I think initially she did believe, and she knew her father was being investigated over it, so she had to really have a think at night, is my dad responsible for this? And she did come to that realization years later. Incredible courage she showed to do an interview like that, and so grateful, and so's the family. And yeah, it's definitely one that I won't forget.
Your chat with Jazz made the front page of the Daily Telegraph numerous times. Brian, we've got to wrap this show up in about 30 seconds.
I do, but I have a text. Now, I knew about this. A gentleman told me about this, but I didn't want to bring it up last time. But someone else has brought this up, one of our listeners. It says, at the time of Rachel's death, Roger Rogerson was part owner of the Bargo pub where Rachelle was linked to have attended, and her car was found the same venue that had all the CCTV was deleted. This listener wants to know, why has that never been mentioned in the podcast or media, and is it true? Because I heard this rumour that Roger Rogerson was a part owner.
Well, this is it. It's only a rumor at this stage. I haven't been able to get to the bottom of it. But if anyone can give me any proof or any contact with any of the owners of the Bargo Hotel back then, I'd be very keen on talking to them. Yeah, on just one of those things I haven't been able to. You can't do everything,
No.
and certainly it is something that has interested me, but also at the same time, I haven't had any hard evidence to say that he was the owner of the Bargo Hotel,
Right,
and records back in 2001 are really hard to get a hold of now.
Yep.
So I would need someone to give me a bit more help in terms of ownership of the pub and to take that forward. But something I'm interested in, but certainly not something I can say is true or false right now.
Ashlea Hanson, thank you so much. The podcast, Dear Rachelle, if you haven't listened to it, you must. It's an absolute must. As I said, it couldn't keep up with me. I kept trying to refresh it. Ashlea, congratulations on the podcast. Thank you for all the work you're doing for the community in doing this. And thanks again for joining the Run Home with Joel and Fletch.
Oh, thanks, guys. We really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashlea.
Subscriptions of the Daily Telegraph, you can catch it there. Podcast's got you as well. Ashlea Hanson Gunn. What, you're still here? Well, you can see more on the Joel and Fletch socials and catch us live on SEN Radio, you beautiful humans.